So what are we about? Well, it's about, like Steve already, I think, tried to explain, and did well, but I'll repeat it. Meeting demands for tomorrow's consumer and, I think, the food distributors. There's no contaminants in the final product, no fish oil or fish oil in the feed. We have some fish oil in our standards feed, but we also tested out feeds now completely without fish oil. And we believe in a short time we'll be able to do all feeds, I think, without fish meal and fish oil. All input parameters, full control, of course, when you are indoor in the recirculation facility. No antibiotics or other medication. And the fresh water is it's human drinking water, pumped up from wells, 900 feet deep from the area where you are. Minimal environmental impact. Effluents are recirculated. We have a biogas production. We produce methane gas that will again use to heat up the facility from the effluents. We will produce algae, macroalgae, also from using the nutrients in the effluents. No fish escapes, like you see. No or less than 1-to-1 use of fish sources for feed. That's the fish eat fish kind of criticism that you see for salmon farming, for instance, and other sea catch farming. And no occupation of precious ocean sites and very minimal energy carbon footprint. We're closer to the market. The whole distribution and value chain can be much more compact. You can take out different parts of it. So that's also I think going forward to requirements from the people and consumers. That's important. And to the industry, the food distributors, I think it's very important. What you can get is stable, predictable, traceable deliveries. You know when you get it. You know what quality you get. That's not wild fisheries. Definitely, it's very, very different. This is becoming an industry, which I think everybody will benefit from. And available for audits and inspections. The whole value chain is. And maximum shelf life and freshness. And again, flexible and industrial production. Next, please. So since I'm coming from international perspective, maybe it could be good just to give a small snapshot of where are you in the big picture globally. Take some European examples of aquaculture. This is illustrating the potential that we're starting to just develop here and harvest. Norway exports today 1 billion pounds per year of farmed salmon. We're a country with less than 5 million people. This is an enormous amount of trucks going out in Norway every day. And it was basically nothing in 1980. It's a new industry, and also on the consumer side. That demand didn't exist at that time. It's been developed. Sea bass and sea bream production, as in the sea bream production in Mediterranean, that's an order of 250 to 350, depending on the year, million pounds, or that's not pounds actually, that's, multiply by 2 and you get the million pounds. 250,000 tons per year. Land-based farms in Spain, Portugal, and France supply actually more than 50% of the world consumption of turbot. Turbot is also well known in the USA, but it's very high-quality flatfish, which is big. It's more than 90% of the world core equipment for recirculation production is actually supplied from Denmark. So also on the supplier side, we have a challenge in America. We need to develop the supplier side to develop this industry. USA, like you said, as Steve mentioned, imports more than 80%, I've seen 84, 85% of the total seafood. But our technology definitely has the potential to do something about that. If you go into the detail on this, actually, only 5%, I think, of the 15% that is produced in the United States is coming from aquaculture. Worldwide is almost 50%.
What's the main product?
The main is shellfish, that's 2/3, and then salmon is 25%, and then roughly shrimp is 10%.
In the U.S.
Yes, in the U.S.
Shellfish?
Yes.
Huh.
At least that's what I've seen.
Aquaculture?
Shrimp.
Yes, from aquaculture.
Catfish.
No, capture is different.
Catfish.
Catfish
Channel catfish is the #1 species we raise in the U.S.
Produced.
Yeah.
It's number one produced in the United States.
Yeah, produced. Yeah. Next, please. But also on the consumer and retailer side, I think typical European and the UK in particular, supermarkets are one of the most advanced supermarkets and retailers in the world when it comes to food. Typically, if you see, for instance, Tesco, sustainably sourced fish, they make what they state on their the homepage is that they make every effort to ensure that all fish supplied and sold in our stores is sustainably sourced and managed. All, it's not 10 of it, 10% of it, 10 tons, it's all of it. And they recognize and share the global concerns about sustainable sourcing fish and committed to taking fish only from responsibly managed sources. So it's a very strong statement, and that has been there for quite some time. It's not new. I think the US retailers are moving in, definitely all of them now in the same direction, but they're later. When I did salmon farming, there was something called Tesco Code of Practice, and this they implemented more than 10 years ago, 15 years ago, which is extensive guidelines for farming the fish. It's this thick, big book. This is the way you're going to farm your salmon in order that we supply you. Very detailed, very strict requirements. So it's very strong follow-up from the retailer side. 2 times a year minimum, they have their own audits traveling to Norway, auditing the farms, making sure that you follow what we tell you to do. Even what we put in the feed, they want to know and want to have control of. And they had a monthly scorecard benchmarking all the supplier performance on every details, logistics, quality, delivery accuracy, whatever you use, and taste of the fish, everything. So it's a very advanced way of doing retail. This is the second one here is it's Marks and Spencer's. They call Forever Fish, awarded the gold standard by the Marine Stewardess Councils. And you can read. We hand out this more in detail, but the same very, very strong requirements. I've been discussing with them when I did salmon farming whether we would dedicate a whole island of salmon farming just for their fish, so they could use from the broodstock up should be their controlled fish source. Everything totally controlled. We would get a guaranteed, regular. You'll make this much margin. Nothing more, nothing less, but you have it guaranteed for the next 20 years. So it's a very, very different, approach to how to source food. But I'm sure that the American retailers just have to follow up this. These are global industries. This is an example, but it's also just showing the example of the potential, because we can meet all this with our technology. No other technology than the recirculation technology, land-based, is able to meet these requirements. So it's a turnaround. It's a tremendous potential in the United States to develop an industry. If you look to how hard it has been developed in Europe and other places already.